and welcome to the OKC Edge Halloween special. We invite you to join us tonight for some great and scary Halloween fun. We have lots of special guests for tonight, so stay tuned and enjoy. Do you like Halloween?
Yes!
Why do you like Halloween?
Because you can dress up scary.
Yeah?
And then you can dress like Supergirl.
Anything else? Anything else you like about Halloween?
Oh, like trick or treat and get some candy. And seeing all of the cool, scary stuff.
Is it important to be safe during Halloween?
Yes.
Why?
Because that way you don't get hit by cars if cars come.
Mm-hmm.
And you make sure you stay safe with your parents. Mm-hmm. That way you don't get lost.
That's right.
And
so what's the best way to be safe?
By
listening.
And make sure you are not far away from your parents.
Like fear.
You should check your candy before you eat it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why is that?
That way you don't get sick or die.
That's a good reason.
When the cold came down, ice and snow all around, in a cave where a fire died, a freezing girl huddled inside. Lucia Dubois was her name, and death hung upon her frame. She struggled to rekindle the dying fire, but soon she knew her cold hunger's ire. A pot of water, a bare bone inside, rested on embers as the flame died. A transparent liquid heated in vain, a desperate soup that would not sustain. She sank to the ground, exhausted and frail. The flame had died, and her efforts had failed. Her companion returned, freezing and weary, starved as well, his wandering eyes blurry. His name was Marco, and his hunger was deep. His senses reeled from the cold and no sleep. He stared at Lucia's form, in his eyes red glimmer, for he knew she would die, her cold flesh his last dinner.
Hello everyone, Rich from PitterSplatter. Will Harrison from the OKC Edge asked me to tell you guys a ghost story for his Halloween special that he does every year. So my ghost story is basically a story that it's been going on for a long time, really.
It's a supernatural phenomenon.
It's something that's happened to me ever since I was about 10 years old. The first time it ever happened, I was at my grandmother's house. I was spending the night, as I, did often back in the day when I was 10. I stayed the weekend at grandma's. Basically, it started out, I was dreaming, and had this really creepy, weird dream. And just in the dream, I felt odd. Like, I felt like I was being watched. This dream kind of starts out where, I was sleeping in the same room as my grandmother. There's, like, music coming from the living room. And, in the dream, me and my grandmother wake up in the bed, and my grandma says, "Oh, goodness, that's a song I remember from my childhood." And then she just walks around the corner and down the hall and disappears. And in the dream, I feel like I just sat there for an eternity, like waiting for her to come back, just scared.
It's a supernatural phenomenon.
Next thing I know in the dream, there's this big black shadow that comes out of the closet that's directly in front of me, and it's like the silhouette of a man, but it's pitch black. But it had this weird, like, white outline, and it was really strange. And this thing's coming towards me, and, I'm 10, I'm scared. And, in the dream, it comes toward me, and it looks at me, and then it looks at its hand, and then it reaches its hand, and the hand goes through my chest. Next thing I know, I wake up. I am awake, and I can see my grandmother asleep, on her side of the room, and this thing is still there. It's still standing over me with its hand in my chest, and I feel like I can't breathe, and I start to get really scared and I start to panic. I remember the last thing I remember thinking was, help me. And with that, you know, this thing kind of jumped up and it pulled its hand out of my chest and it ran back into the wall. And I never woke up from that. I never actually, you know, I know that it wasn't a dream because I never woke up. And once I could move, I turned over and I got out of bed and I got to my grandmother and I woke her up, and of course I was terrified, and I don't think it was so real, and I was just so convinced that that thing, whatever it was real. It took me a while to be able to sleep again. Well, anyway, that's my ghost story, and I'd like to thank Will and the OKC Edge for having us be a part of this Halloween special again.
It's Worm, that last story that Wretch told you. The shadow man in that story was actually me, and the things I did to her grandmother are unspeakable. Our brand new album, Wastelands, is going to be out very, very soon. We're in the mastering phases of the album right now, so it shouldn't be too long at all. Keep your eye out for that. You can find PitterSplatter online at facebook.com/PitterSplatterOfficial. You can buy music at PitterSplatterOfficial.bandcamp.com. Everybody have a good Halloween.
Largus Ragnarok. Largus means Lagos, water, large body of water. Ragnarok. Ragna is meaning the serpent. Brook means badger. I am the serpent-killing badger. And I'm Largus Ragnarok of Deathbox. It's a concept that we've been working now for 2 years. Me and Jerry Krause, basically wrote the material. So he come and questioned me to ask me to be his front man on this project. But it's been a commitment on my part, a lot of sacrifice. So really down to earth here, I guess. But just finished rehearsing. We got a show the 23rd. We're preparing for. We're gonna do everything. Tonight's just really the warm up. I've got to go through the motions. All the head banging. My head is just like throbbing right now because it's like a constant 40-minute head bang for me. It's the energy that I bring to the stage. I've enjoyed Halloween as a child. Growing up in this country, in America, of all places. You know, the community I grew up in, people left their doors open at night. You don't have to worry about that thing, and kind of now you have to. So, small community, maybe 2,500 people. Celebrate every year. In my travels to Mexico City, I've got to enjoy probably one of the greatest celebrations of Halloween, which is Fiesta de Muertos in Mexico. It's 3 days. It's really a week of Halloween, and so they prepare all year long to celebrate this holiday. It's the holiday of the Dead Saints, which, you know, it's kind of like a Memorial Day, no different than what we celebrate here in America. So great tradition there. I enjoy it thoroughly down there. I have lots of friends that I will miss this year. I'll be doing something here, I'm sure, in the States. So, but my heart will be with them because I know what kind of parties they throw in Mexico for Halloween, and they're great. I love them. Well, it's a day of spirits. You know, you can get into the dark side of things, you know, like, the Force or black magic or Satanism or whatever you want to call it. But I will say this: it's a day. It's celebrated almost of a resurrection of sorts. So because their soul is resurrected on that day when you remember them. You see. Just in your thoughts, in the expression of your words, you give them life in this matrix of reality here. So they live again for the brief moment in that year that we remember them. So
I'm Ryan Pogue. I'm the drummer for Deathbox, and I'm also a world musician for Eyeless Watchers, with Isaiah Harrell and Philip Langley. I consider myself a believer of all religions in some way. I take little bits here and there from all different religions that I've studied throughout my life. I'm 25 years old, so it's been a pretty big journey just studying everything. But for Halloween, I mean, I believe in Samhain, or Samhain, some people say, however you want to pronounce it. That's the pagan Halloween. In a sense, they don't call it Halloween, but basically what I do is I pay my respects to the moon, and for Halloween I also pay my respects to the moon. I believe everybody has some sort of connection to something in the world, and for me it's the moon. I believe that I'm connected to the moon in one way or another, and pretty much, I do try to partake in everything that everybody else does, just so I get an experience for however, with how everyone else celebrates Halloween. And that's pretty much it. Like sometimes I dress up, sometimes I take kids out for trick-or-treating, like my nephews and my nieces. I take them out with their parents and stuff. And, that's pretty much it. I mean, I light incense at home, and sometimes I'll go out if there's an opportunity to go out and celebrate. You know, it's definitely a mile marker, just like anybody's birthday or Christmas or New Year's Eve or whatever. Just a mile marker for me.
Now the song Feast was written after the movie, the horror movie Feast, Feast 1, 2, and 3. Jerry's a huge fan of it, and so in the song it's mankind is up against something that is inevitably evil and unknown to them, and it's the trial of their survival. So the song's the song. So during that song, it's when you hear the lyrics, the rotting jackals are here tonight. They've come to eat us. It's time to fight. Call the army. Call the Marines. We cannot stop them. We have no means. So it's this dark force that's invaded our world. And we're doing everything we can to fight it off, to see the light of day. So.
thank you for watching and supporting the OKC Edge Halloween special, and for supporting and watching the OKC Edge. Until next time, happy Halloween. See ya!